Hey guys, welcome back to Sarcastic Remarks alongside James. My name's Ryan. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Thank you as always to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code THPN next time you are there. If you're here for the first time and or you like anything that you hear here today, we would really appreciate it if you would hit that like and subscribe button. We are very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. We're like less than 60 away at this point. There's actually a good chunk of you who are listening who have not done so far. So do us a favor, hit that subscribe button especially, and help us get to that 4-digit mark in terms of subscribers. Dallas Stars get the win here tonight, James. They get the final score of 4-1 over the Los Angeles Kings. Nils Lundqvist returns to the lineup, and this if I had to put one word, or I guess it's technically two words, to describe this game, feel good. That's what it felt like to me tonight after a 2-game skid. They are able to respond with a win here tonight.
Yeah, it was nice to see a win tonight. Really, I thought they still struggled for a majority of the game, and until they finally got that first goal. Once they got that first goal, it felt like the team of old had come back. But I mean, the beginning of this game was still pretty struggle for me, honestly.
Well, it was really weird. I slightly agree with you. Like the first 10 minutes, it felt like here, let's do it this way. Like the first 3 or 4 minutes, it felt like the Stars had to jump in their step. Like they had some pep, or they, had a 5-hour energy right before the game started or something, and they just had that electric, energy that they normally have. And then the Kings started to push back a little bit, and they were the better team in the first period, I thought. And Dallas started looking sluggish again. So after that first goal, I will disagree with you in a little bit, and I thought the Stars were the better team. Like the final 40 minutes, especially, I thought the Stars were the better team, and especially in the third period, they just looked way hungrier and way ready for to get back into the win column here today. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Stars until they got their first goal, they were. It felt more like the Minnesota game. It didn't feel like the Florida game. The Florida game was terrible. It felt a lot more like the one against Minnesota, where they were getting some chances and like good scoring chances, but there wasn't much going on outside of that.
Well, how are you feeling? Are you feeling relief, or are you feeling excitement over this? Or are you just kind of meh?
I'm kind of meh, honestly.
There is a hint of meh to how I feel tonight, but I feel good because they got the win here.
I feel like the hint of meh is just going to overshadow the rest of the regular season for us, because at this point, the Stars are just going to wait till the playoffs start. So who cares what else happens? We had those 2 really bad losses in a row, but who cares, because they just went on like a 13-game point streak, and they were in no danger of dropping out of a playoff spot. It'll surprise me if we ever have to say that at all for the remainder of this season, just because of how good their start has been.
Ryan, Pilot's Kid 91 finished flying, saw the score, seems much better. Hope you're getting any sleep, Ryan. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan.
The finished flying part is, for those that don't know, he is actually I think he's a full-fledged pilot now. I think he's actually in the right chair now. I think I saw that recently. So congratulations to you, Ryan. I don't think I've actually had the chance to tell you. But it is much better. Now, we didn't dominate the game like we probably wanted to, but we got the win. And as for your last comment, I'm not getting much sleep. That just comes with the territory of a new baby. So it is what it is. So, okay. I feel a little bit more meh than I do. Well, let me rephrase it this way. I feel a lot more feel good with a hint of meh. Like those hint waters that mom loves so much, James. So it's like it got like that weird aftertaste of like watermelon or whatever. It's like it was the win overall was a glass of water, right? It was great, right? But it had that like hint of menace to it. It would mean whatever flute flavor you want to insert there. That's what it felt like tonight. There's a lot of good things that we can criticize. There's a lot of good things that we can also kind of still kind of hype up for the Dallas Stars. So we're just going to kind of go through what I've got here and some of my game notes. But from the opening shift, like I mentioned, it felt like Dallas wanted to dictate the pace, but they started to slow down. Rantanen got an early look, and Harley jumped into the play, and Dallas was spending a lot of time in the Kings zone those first 3 to 4 minutes. But here's the issue early, and this is something that I want to kind of get into and get your thoughts on. It felt like for a majority of the game that when they were, and this has been like a thing that's going back the last 2 games, it felt like they have done all of this cycle work in the offensive zone, and that part is great, and they're able to still cycle in the offensive zone. They're not getting anything out of it, though. So, like, they're doing all of this work for basically nothing, right?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. Am I seeing things, or is there something there that you see?
Well, you're not seeing things. Look at your last 3 opponents were, and that'll tell you why it feels like we're just cycling around in the zone. Those are 3 of the best defensive teams that play that kind of style every night, in and out. So, yes, the Stars need to find a way to crack into that. I felt like they figured that out big time in the third period. They were able to really start taking it to the net, even with the stout defense that the Kings were setting up. But I mean, really, you look at your last 3 opponents, the Wild, the Panthers, and the Kings. All 3 of those teams had great goaltender performances on the night that the Stars played them, and they all played outstanding defense. And the Kings honestly had a really good defensive game going until the third period. They were holding the Stars to less than 20 shots again, and they kind of let it slip in the third, and that's really why I think the Stars ended up winning this one tonight.
Did it feel like that they took their foot off the gas, the LA Kings?
I think the Stars just figured out how to give themselves more space. I think they started moving the puck faster, and that gave them a little bit more space. That was something that was really frustrating, I thought, in the Minnesota Wild game. Was they were just not making passes quick enough, and the Wild would be on top
a step slow, right?
Yeah. And then it carried over into the Panthers game. It looked even worse in the Panthers game because that team is just hyper aggressive all the time. And specifically on the power play in that Panthers game, it was glaringly obvious that the Stars were not moving fast enough to match up against that team.
And let me jump in on this a little bit, and I'll come back to the on the perimeter stuff and too much cycle work here in a second. But I'm going to speculate here a little bit. So Nils Lundkvist was sick, right? So he comes back in, gets 1 game, he immediately goes back out because of sickness. I'm really starting to wonder if like it's just going through the locker room right now.
I'm sure it is.
I don't think that that is out of the realm of possibility.
It's going through the whole league right now because I've heard it from many teams that like, oh, someone has this, so-and-so has the flu. They're out with the flu. This person's out sick. It's every team, like every single night this week. Everyone has someone who is sick.
So, and that's why I think the last 3 games, it's felt like they've been a step slow. Like they haven't been like terrible. Like the only reason why the score against Florida was so bad is because just Dallas didn't have it and Florida did. Florida, they've won 5 of their last 6. They won again tonight. They're starting to look like the actual, Stanley Cup champions. And that's without their 2 best players, in my opinion, Barkov and Tkachuk. So that's scary. But the terms of all of this is I think Dallas is just fighting a lot of just blah, literally blah, and in some cases, especially with Nils Lundkvist. But to kind of get back to what I was talking about with some of the perimeter work and some of this the cyclical work that they're doing in the offensive zone, that they're doing great in getting the puck up to the point again. But a lot of these point shots that they're taking, if you want to cause chaos in front of the opposing netminder, that's great. That's what you want to see your third and fourth lines do a lot of the time. But it's got to get open. It's got to open stuff up. It can't be blocked by the first guy, and then it's out and it goes the opposite way, which it feels like it was doing for the last 2 games, and then even the first period here tonight. It just felt like they weren't getting past that first initial block, which that's something that Harley does so well. Miro does it so well. Nils, to a certain extent, does it pretty well too. We just need to see more of that if they're going to do this cyclical work in the offensive zone. Because again, like I said, it feels like you're doing all of this great stuff, which is fantastic. Yes, like that's not what we saw a lot of under Pete DeBoer's system. If we're going to do that, we got to get something out of it, whether it's a momentum or a shot or something. Like give us something to cheer about.
Yeah. And I think you're saying that they're a step slow the past couple of games is why so many of those shots are getting blocked. Yes, the defenders are just up. They're on all connected instantly, and that was what the Stars were doing so good in that long streak of points, was that they were getting space in the offensive zone consistently all the time. So I really think that they've just been a step slow the past couple of games, and they seem to have started to figure it out again.
There was a lot of adventure defensively here in the first period too of the game. It's just missed assignments and just a step slow. Like I forget the exact play. It was towards the end of the first period. James, help me out here. It was 8:25. A really bad defense by Dallas, not picking up 2 trailers. Anderson hit the post on his second opportunity. So there was the initial guy. I don't even remember who it was at this point, but he basically had a semi breakaway there. He gets a shot off, and then Anderson comes in behind him, and there's no one trailing Anderson close enough to make sure that he doesn't get an opportunity off. And not only does he not just get one off, but he gets 2, and the second one hits the post. And some good fortune, but also some good play by Casey DeSmith as well. So that's just something that I've also seen a lot more of the last 3 games, which led me to speculate that the Stars are just fighting the stomach bug here.
And the other part of it is that we just got Duchene and Harley and Lundqvist all back too, and we're having to work them back into the system point that everyone else has already learned. And honestly, I think the Duchene one might be a little bit of a reach, because I thought Duchene has been our best forward through these 3 games. I think he has looked fantastic,
especially the last 2 games,
and he's gotten better every game. So that's really good to see from him. It looks like that's not going to affect him at all. And I mean, it looks like he might end up on that top line too, which could be really exciting.
So I was actually thinking about doing a quick side tangent there. Let's go ahead and go there, because after the first period, especially, it felt like there is a lot more experimentation done by Glenn Golitzin and by the coaching staff. That it's not that it was just, again, it wasn't that it was necessarily bad. It just wasn't working. They weren't getting anything done offensively, and we saw all sorts of crap going on here tonight. There's all sorts of weird combos. The only thing that we didn't really see much that I wish we would still see more is going back to the Quebec line. I mean, Bork, Ritzkovian, and Beck. I'd love to see that line get put together more often, especially when it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of stuff going on. But to Glenn Golitzin's credit, I think the goal of tonight was find Duchene a partner night. Like I think he played with every single forward on the ice tonight. At least that's what it felt like. And that's even crazier because you mentioned earlier that Duchene has been one of the better players for the Stars the last couple of games. And I think part of it is because he's just a little bit more fresher because he's coming back from an injury and everyone else is a little bit more off and tired. But it's also give a lot of credit to Duchene because he's still looking good playing with not consistent line mates.
Yeah, I think he's been great since coming back. It's definitely been a slow crawl back into it. But
it always is after a concussion like that, though.
They've done a good job of easing him in, and he looks to be fully up to speed now.
Okay, I want to throw a quick praise bubble to Colin Blackwell because I thought this was one of the best games he's had in the season. I don't think he shows up on the score sheet tonight. I say that, and I'm gonna make myself a liar. But just in general, I was incredibly impressed with how he played tonight. He was doing exactly what you want a fourth liner to do. And what's awesome about it is that he's on the smaller side, but dude has he got some speed. He was, especially early on, there were numerous times where he was just taking the puck and shooting it at the net, which I kept screaming at several times. And especially in the second period, I was just like, please shoot the puck. I'm so tired of being outshot. And I think the Stars got outshot again here today. Okay, it's not bad. It's not really outshot, but 2 shots. But for a majority of the game, they were badly outshot. I want to see more people do what Colin Blackwell did tonight. Shoot the puck more. He had 4 shots tonight. I think that leads the Stars in all categories. Okay, Harley had 5. So that's the only Harley had 5 blocks. Excuse me. So yeah, shots. He had 4 shots. Blackwell did tonight. So I need to see more people follow Colin Blackwell's example in that. I loved how he played tonight.
Yeah, and he got a large amount of ice time because of it too. I mean, he played exceptionally well. I think that whole fourth line played well. I think that's the only reason we didn't see the Quebec line is because that fourth line was just rolling, and every time they touched the ice, they just were they weren't always the most dangerous, but they were spending a lot of time in the offensive zone.
They definitely spread out the time on ice here tonight, more on the forwards. Nobody got above 20 minutes tonight, which that is weird, especially considering how much they've used Rantanen and Johnston and stuff. And Johnson only played 17 minutes tonight, which that's kind of low for him for this season. Anyways, getting back to the game and before we jump down another rabbit hole, the second period, I didn't even catch it, to be honest with you, James, but Darcy Kemper leaves the game. Anton Forsberg is in the net for the Los Angeles Kings, and it just felt like chaos to begin the second period. I was so upset on several of the calls. There were penalties everywhere, questionable calls, 5-on-3, and I was letting the refs have it and pretending like they could actually hear me. How did you feel about it?
The second period was crazy in general. I mean, Rantanen kind of gets pushed into Kemper in front of the net, and then either the play's blown dead or they're just saying it's no goal because of goaltender interference. But I don't understand that because I thought Rantanen was pushed in, and then they didn't even look at it. And so I'm all confused about that goal, or non-goal rather. But then the penalties, both of Beck's penalties tonight were non-existent.
This is a guy who's had anything. He had 1 penalty all year coming into this game, and he's quadrupled it, tripled it, whatever.
Tripled it.
He tripled it tonight. So he went from 2 to 8.
Neither of them were actual penalties, and it's so ridiculous. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. That I was very frustrated with some of the penalties.
And then you had the double minor high sticking penalty on Foxa.
Like the guy was falling on the ice.
His stick never touched him in the face either. If anything, it was like roughing. But they call high sticking, and then it's a 2-minute or a 4-minute minor because there's blood.
It's still stupid. Like, okay, but I wasn't even really upset about that one as much as I was upset about the other Beck penalty. I'm putting it in quotations for those of you that are listening on the audio side. Like, I would call it a touch foul, but he didn't even touch it.
It grazed his back, and the dude just lost an edge at the same time it happened.
Who was it? Kopitar?
I don't even remember. The dude wasn't even trying to draw a penalty or anything like that. He just slipped. I mean, the ref had a bad angle of it. It got called. Which that one's so crazy to me that the other ref couldn't see that and then just be like, no, he slipped. But whatever.
A couple of random thoughts because I'm looking at my notes and things I wanted to point out. There was one play in particular that I was super impressed with, and that was Mikko Rantanen 16 and a half remaining in the second. I watched that play, and at first I was like, what is he doing? And it looked like he just took a shot and just completely missed. But then when I went and looked back at it, I was just like, he did it completely on purpose. He was shooting it off of the end boards to try and get it to Duchene. And Dad was like, wait, you think he did that on purpose? I was like, 100%. This is Mikko Rantanen who we're talking about. Like, he comes up with the most creative stuff ever. I loved that play in particular. 14 and a half remaining in the second. Esa had a backhand, which that was the one time where there was some cyclical work by the Stars where they got something out of it, something kind of meaty to continue on with. And then two other random thoughts that I had in the second. The feistiness of Alexander Petrovic. I don't know if you've noticed it the last couple of games, James. I love it. Absolutely love it. Like, it's good to see him getting upset because it means that he's a competitive guy and he knows he can do better and that his team can do better. I love it. I love the fact that he got that 10 or 2 in a game at the end of the game against Florida. That was nice. I loved that. And then I'll go ahead and throw this on top since I'm talking about feistiness. But Ritzkovian at the end of the Florida game on Saturday, I loved seeing that. Just going up with Brad Marchand and just like, I can't imagine what was said. I'm sure we can't say something like that on the internet, but it was still great to see the feistiness of some of these guys that don't get a whole lot of credit for what they do with Ritzkovian and Petrovic. And even Esa Lindell I've seen get a little bit feisty over the last couple of weeks, especially. I had a couple of random thoughts there. Any thoughts from you on any of those?
The feistiness is nice to see. I thought Petrovic's was just because he was upset that he had a terrible night. I thought he was the Stars' worst player against the Panthers. I mean, he got scored on twice, and then he had the penalty at the end too, and he just looked bad the whole time. Honestly, I thought he just was not in that game ever. But to be fair, most of the other Stars weren't there anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah. So and then the thing happens, which I can't remember the last time something like that happened. Just complete miscommunication between Casey DeSmith and Miro Heiskanen. It's nice that we won the game so that we can just look back on this and look at this and just be like, okay, it was a one-time thing. This doesn't normally happen between, two guys like this. Just the miscommunication. That was terrible. Some people were like, oh, that's DeSmith's fault. It looks like he was taking a shot to shoot it out of the zone. And others were like, well, Miro was supposed to take that online. I was just like, I think both guys were equally at fault there. Because it did look like Casey DeSmith was going to shoot the puck out. But at the same time, Miro's got to be a little bit more aggressive. I think that's the word that Razor uses. Like, take the aggressive play and assume that no one's going to help you. And if someone does help you, then great. That just absolutely sucked. And LA immediately led right there. What, like 3-5 seconds into the 5-on-3? So they lead it 1-0. I hated that.
It's tough to give it up that early. Honestly, likelihood that you are able to kill off that 5-on-3 with both Foxa and back in the box is a tough ask, to say the least. But it in the end, it's a 5-on-3 goal anyway. Even the way that it went in was odd and shouldn't happen, but whatever, stuff happens, especially with the night that DeSmith was having, and the defense in general looked pretty decent tonight, other than that one little gaffe where those penalties came through. You can chalk that up to stuff happens, because the rest of the game just looked so much better than those like 2 minutes there.
And we need like Elmo and Cookie Monster to come out here and say the word of the day is meh. M-E-H. I loved how Dallas responded here. They responded the power play later in the period for them. It wasn't perfect, but it was purposeful, and that's something that I've talked about a lot. Is just like, if you're gonna get a power play, at least get some momentum build off of that. And that's something that the last couple of games they have not been able to do with their power play, which is very strange because that's been probably the Stars' best part of their game up to this point in the season. But they had some movement during it. They were getting some retrievals, some actual pressure in the offensive zone, which we hadn't seen a whole lot of. And then Duchene tied it. And oh my gosh, what a finish. But I mean, what else can you say about Mikko Rantanen? Just a no-look cross-zone pass. Because sure, everyone can do that, right?
Yeah, little wizard pass straight through the center of the ice. He finds windows that you can't even see from above the rink, which is just something so special.
Since we're in like the Stranger Things era right now, it's ending. I'm going to use the word sorcerer because that sounds so much cooler. Like he was a sorcerer with that pass and just the things that he does with the puck, and we'll get to what he did in the third period here in a second. And when that happened, like you said, James, that was the turning point in the game. Lately, there have been a lot of obvious turning points to games. That was the turning point, is getting that shot to go off. Duchene has been looking great over the last couple of games. He finally gets rewarded for it here tonight. And then it also doesn't hurt when you play with Mikko Rantanen and everything. That helps.
But I mean, he deserved it too, because especially on that power play that you're talking about, that the Stars were able to build momentum from. Really, it was that second unit that looked better. And they only had the last 30 seconds, and that was Ben and Duchene and Bork, and they really went to work on that 30 seconds they had, and they made sure that they ended up with the momentum out of that. Because I think if the first unit stayed on for that last 30 seconds, that was momentum going back to the Kings 100%.
Since we're talking about since we're talking about like momentum and stuff like that, one of the things I was talking about with Travis and Dad in the living room was about, lately, especially, that one of the things they talked about coming back from a break, I think it was during the second period, is the shot differential. And the Stars are like top 5 in terms of the worst shot differential this season, and it's like minus 80. And some of the teams that the Stars are in that category with are teams that are not good. I mean, San Jose is not bad. They're a decent team this year. They're, to not to overuse the word, but meh. And but there's like Chicago. Yeah, it's the word of the day. Yeah, we need to use the word of the day. Chicago, it was kind of in that category too. It is just, it was a group of teams that you don't want to be associated with, right? In terms of being a playoff team and all of that stuff. I was calling for more quantity over quality. Get Money 905. I swear you were reading my mind, dude. Like, at that point, I wanted quantity because the Stars only had like 10 shots, but they started to get quality over a period of time. But I think it was because they actually started throwing the puck at the net more often. And like example that I was talking about earlier, Blackwell, just throwing it at the net. There was chaos around. It gave them better opportunities and gave them better quality opportunities. What say you on that?
Yeah, I can see that a little bit. Really, it was getting inside the slot and getting some flurries in there and getting open in that area. So some of it, yes, it was, they were throwing the puck at the net a little bit more, but I thought they were trying to do that most of the night. The first period especially, I think they ended the period with like only 5 or 6 shots, and they had triple that in shot attempts, and they just weren't getting it to the net. But
everything's connected. It goes back to that whole thing we were talking about. Just a step slow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Burned Oils, laugh out loud. The word of the day is enough with getting outshot every game. I'm so tired of getting outshot every game. I'm fine if we win the games, but when we lose the games, it sucks even more. So do something, right? Okay. The third period, James, just, we're going way over. We're gonna go through this fast here, but that's how you close it out. They took control in the third period, and they said, no, this is our game to play. They tightened up defensively. The forecheck really started forcing mistakes, and the Kings were slowly starting to run out of ideas through this third period. And just a couple of guys that I had with some big looks. Wyatt Johnston. Ben had a really good shot, a really good chance as well. Blackwell, I mentioned him again because I was just impressed with how he's been playing. He was flying. And then we finally get it. And then we go up 2-1. And it's Joe Pavelski. Oh, wait, no. It's Oskar Beck in front of the net with a Joe Pavelski-esque tip. The tip goes down between the legs and absolutely perfect. Just a great play by Oskar Beck. And I was just gushing about that at that point because that guy deserves it more than anybody because he's like Esa Lindell, but on the forward side. He gets absolutely no recognition for what he does. But it's nice to see a guy like this get rewarded every once in a while.
Yeah, and this was the reason why that line stayed intact all night, because they just spent time in the offensive zone, and they got shots from the point and got people in front. And shocker, that both of Beck's goals on the season are tips in the slot on the fourth line. I mean, both of his goals are with, I believe, Fox and Blackwell on his line. So
keeping together.
I know we love that Quebec line. And it works great, but so does Beck on the fourth line. He's just such a good grinder, and he's amazing on the walls, and that's why that Quebec line works so well. But he just is way more suited for the fourth line. I feel like he's just going to score more there, especially with Foxa. I mean, Foxa, though those two have the same brain almost, I feel like they know what each other are going to do. They know they're going to dump it in and go try to forecheck and get it back, and they know they're gonna just glide from the net and try to tip it in.
Oskar Beck, PP2 unit?
No.
Throw him in front of the net?
No.
He's a big body. He can tip. He's done it twice.
He's good, but I don't know about that one.
That made me feel so good after that goal, and that just opened everybody up, and the Stars really started playing loose at that point. Everything was going the Stars' way. And then when it seemed like it was just going to be like a 2-1 game or whatever, Mikko Rantanen's just like, this is what I put in my notes. He's just a freaking cheat code, man. Like I don't know another way to describe him other than a cheat code. He just walks in, he just does a little dipsy doodle over the other guy's stick, just like a slight little like flip over his stick, and then he just rips it and throws it 5-hole. And I didn't even realize this. But Travis is actually the one who pointed it out to me. I'll give him credit for it. Every single one of the Stars' goals tonight went 5-hole. I didn't even think about that until then. And yeah, you know what, Zachary Mitchell, that's a perfect comment. He made it look like NHL 26. It's straight up video game. Like we gush about him all the time, but he deserves all the accolades that he's getting. And the $12 million, is it too early to say that it's a steal?
I don't think
because
so.
I'm starting to think of it that way.
Especially after some of the contracts that you've seen signed around the league, it definitely looks like a steal. But Rantanen has done this a couple of times already in this season, 2 or 3 times, where the Stars only have a 1-goal lead late in the third period, and he just goes out by himself and scores an extra one. And that really iced it. It looked like the Stars were just gonna play defensively, like the whole game had been. They were playing good defensively. They weren't giving up very many chances,
and still getting chances of their own too, though.
I think it kind of lulled the Kings into a sense of security too, because they're getting late in that game, and the Stars were starting to just flip it out of the zone. They really were, and I think Rantanen might have caught them sleeping a little bit, and that just made the game so much easier. But then the Stars were up by 2, so you know they had to get the empty netter because they don't win 2-goal games.
No, but they win games where they're down 2-0, right? Did you hear that one weird stat the other day? It was like if they're down 2-0, they're like 5-0-2 or something.
Yeah,
like
in their last 7 games.
That's stupid.
Yeah, they're incredible when they're down by 2, but they never win a game by 2 or lose a game by 2.
Right. They're only allowed to win 1-goal games.
Well, that's also why we had the 2 empty netter goals against Minnesota.
Right. Exactly.
That would have been a 2-goal game. So
exactly.
A 3-goal game.
Well, anyways, it's just a cheat code when you got a guy who can go in and do that. And there's not very many of them around the league. There's a small handful that can just do that. And I'm so thankful that Mikko Rantanen can do that. Thank you, Jim Nill, and Jim Nill, we trust. Johnson would finish it off with an empty netter, and that's all she wrote. 4-1 Dallas. We've talked about all the little things that I wanted to talk about in terms of like storylines and stuff like that. But so let's just go ahead straight into biggest winner, biggest loser, because we're already at like 36 minutes in terms of recording here tonight. So who's your biggest winner? Who's your biggest loser? Who you got?
Biggest winner is Oskar back. I mean, I thought he had a spectacular night. The 2 penalties called on him were terrible calls, phantom calls, and he paid him right back instantly too. So great little revenge arc in the middle of the game for Oskar back.
The real answer, James, is Mikko Rantanen, but he gets it all the time, so I'm not going to give him mine this time. I'm going to give mine to someone we haven't really talked about very much, is Casey DeSmith. Casey DeSmith in the first period, he wasn't overly tested in the second and third. There were still opportunities where he made good saves in the second and third, but especially in the first period. Like if the Stars don't have him playing that way in the first period, they're down 3 to 4 goals already going into the first intermission. Like it shouldn't have even been close. So I'm giving him my biggest winner.
He also has the mental fortitude to give up that really dumb goal. I mean, for how much it is a mistake on both of them, he was the one who had the puck. So
okay, James.
No, I'm saying when you look at that and the puck was on your stick and you just let the dude shank it off your stick into the net, like it's your fault, right?
Oh, like wow, okay, dang.
No, I'm right, okay? If a defenseman has a puck on the stick and it goes right into the goal like that, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Man, I was trying to be all PC over here and say it was both of them.
That's the only goal he let in all night. It didn't faze him at all. So
there you go. You slammed the door with a good comment. There you go, James. Nice job. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I was setting myself up for it.
Yeah. But you did it good. Who's your biggest loser tonight? Who you got?
Playing 2 right-handed defensemen on the same pairing. That's my biggest loser.
That's weird.
We only have 2 of them. We played them on the same pairing. So not sure what that's about. Maybe Lundqvist is still tired or something, but that was...
No. We have 3. The Lyubushkin is right-handed.
Okay, whatever. But we had 3, and then we played 2 of them on the same pairing. I don't know why we did that. Yes,
but it's pretty obvious. Like the thing is are you gonna break up Miro and Essa?
I think they should have tonight.
No, that's not. No, that's the one. That's your like like the tight end in football. That's the security blanket. Like whenever you just throw it to your tight end and you just know he's gonna catch it. He's just a big guy. He's not gonna go very far, but he's gonna catch it, right? It's like that for me. Like those 2 guys together are your security blanket whenever you need something done. In whatever aspect, like you throw those guys out there, they'll take care of the business. And not because he's, they started off that way, but Harley and Lyubushkin have played a lot together. They really have. And especially when like last year, when Miro went down for an extended period of time, Lyubushkin was basically the number 2 for playing Harley.
I just think Harley looks so much better with Lundqvist.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you can tell he's getting out of the funk.
I don't know why we wouldn't do that more, but
yep.
I hope to see that more in the coming weeks.
Agreed. My biggest loser here tonight, I guess I'll just give it to, and this is not really a biggest loser because it's not that major of a deal, but the biggest loser for me is just the lack of energy. They just look lethargic and lackadaisical the last 3 games. and the third period looked more like them, but we've seen against two good teams, Minnesota and Florida, that if you look lackadaisical and lethargic, you're going to get beat. And no offense to the LA Kings, but the LA Kings are not the Florida Panthers or the Minnesota Wild. So it's just saying. So they were able to pull themselves out of it tonight. I'd like to see them get back to like the game against Edmonton where they were just absolutely dominant. I'd like to see that more.
I think that takes some really bad goaltending from the other team too, though.
Yeah, I wonder how he's doing. Duchene. I think he had a good game and he had a bad game.
He had a good first game, but
I don't think
Skinner's... the Leafs, and they still let in 3. So I mean,
well, 3 is the new 2.
Yeah, but it's the Leafs this season.
3. That's true. Having the Leafs put up 3 on you is kind of bad.
The Leafs have been bad.
Yeah. No, we don't want to open that can of worms. We'll be here another hour. Last question, because Ryan's asking, did Koliatronic clear waivers? I don't know. We won't know until tomorrow, because I think he has to be on waivers for 24 hours. I am really worried about him getting through.
I think he's going to clear. I don't think it's really too much of a question.
I don't know. I really don't, because just with the amount of injuries.
If there weren't so many other teams doing so good right now, because even like the worst teams in the league are doing pretty decent. So you would have to have someone who's going through a ton of injuries.
I just don't know.
Unless Vancouver claims them, that would be
tragic. Oh, that would suck. Please don't, James. Okay, I'm knocking on wood right now.
That's the only team. That's the only team who would claim him.
Yeah. They just trade their, franchise, face of the franchise, probably the best player that's ever put on a Vancouver Canucks uniform, and literally like 4 or 5 days after the trade, you're heading to Vancouver. That would suck. I would hate that. Well, anyways, I like this game. Feeling of meh. That's the word of the day. I'm not gonna do it in Elmo voice because I can't do it. But Stars get back in the win column here tonight. That's a step in the right direction. Now we need to continue this, moving forward in the right direction, and we'll have to see what the Stars can do. They finally get 2 days off for the first time, and it feels like forever. So we don't have another game. Yeah, we do not have another game until Thursday, and then they go again on Friday. So it is what it is.
9 o'clock starts Thursday, Friday.
Oh, that's gonna suck. Well, that's gonna do it here for us tonight, guys. Thank y'all so much for following along with us live. There's even more of you who are listening afterwards. Please make sure you click like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, as James tries to suppress a yawn, but he can't hide that yawn from me. Dude. I know. No, it's okay. I've been doing it the last couple episodes too, and I'm doing it now. Dang it. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor. THPN is the promo code there. If you're listening on the audio side, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform of choice, whatever that may be. Please, again, click subscribe. We're so close to 1,000. Please. If you'd like to support us monetarily, Who Cares Club, link is in the description if you'd like to join. And then also we've got our media kit as well if you know someone who has a business and would like their business sponsored on a very niche podcast for the Dallas Stars. We'd appreciate that if you guys would give us a call. Alongside James, my name's Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side, and we hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening. Whenever you guys are listening, James, go ahead and take us out.
GG, boys.